Right. Speaking of people that get on my tits, putting it mildly, Just Stop Oil. Their latest stunt has outraged people, and now I'm absolutely convinced that they are a psyop for Big Oil. Right? I think actually they must be hired by Big Oil just to convince us all that Big Oil aren't the bad guys, because they are doing the best PR possible across a whole host of things, whether it be desecrating the His Majesty the King's first portrait, which, by the way, I think is bad enough without having Just Stop Oil scroll all over it.
Yeah.
And then this latest stunt in which they spray Stonehenge with this orange, they say it's corn flour and something else. So they're saying it will rinse off in the rain. But I appreciate this older woman here doing her level best to stop them. On her own, by the way, valiant stuff. And anyway, it goes on like that, and you can see here in full view the orange that's now defacing Stonehenge. Now, of course, this is a landmark that, well, it's a UNESCO protected landmark, and has stood the test of time. You know, you could argue actually it stood climate change, you know, that old thing. It's weathered that all right as well. But it can't weather perhaps Just Stop Oil. And I've just wondered, do either of you actually think that these tactics are going to help them or hinder?
Not at all.
No,
I
they,
don't
they,
think
they, go ahead, Eunice, go ahead.
Not at all, because every time I see these people, it really angers me, and it has the opposite effect, as you said, because people are fed up. But they're trying to get into work. They're trying to. I had them in my street like a year ago, and they made me get to work like half an hour late. And they're actually doing nothing for the environment. This whole environmental hoax we're talking about, yes, there is climate change, but there has been climate change since the beginning of time. And these people are basically a bunch of lefty, wokey people that have nothing better to do with their lives. Okay, if you care about the environment, go and build an electric car like Elon Musk, if you're so concerned about the environment. But you're not concerned about the environment. You're just a bunch of virtue signaling idiots that have nothing better to do with their lives. And this is what you do. And you're a nuisance. And as a matter of fact, it's having the opposite effect.
Yeah.
It's really having the opposite effect. And final point on this. Yeah, if we just stop oil, we just export it to other countries such as China and India. And they're going to be emitting CO2 emissions, and they're going to be the ones that will grow their economy instead of us. We live on one earth. So what difference does it make if we stop it here and then export it to China and India? The whole thing doesn't make sense. And this whole thing about plastic bags. Okay, what should we replace plastic bags with? Paper bags. Okay, where does paper come from? Trees. So you want to cut down more trees to get rid of plastic. It just doesn't make sense for me. They haven't really thought this through.
No, oh no, not at all. None of it. They've thought this is virtue signaling, right? We live in an age now in which actually it's not having a Louis Vuitton bag, it's not having the latest designer trends. Actually, it's about how worthy you are when it comes to causes, activism. We had it with Black Lives Matter. We've had it with over Palestine. We've had it with the environmental issues. This is all about proving you're a good person by the status symbols you wear through your activism. And a lot of the comments, Alex, are saying things like time to charge them every time they break the law, they need locking up, these Just Stop Oil people need prosecuted. A lot of consensus there that actually what needs to happen to stop these people is for there to be a significant deterrent, i.e. enforcement of the law. Why is it actually that we see such a hands-off approach by the police? And I mean that literally.
Well, I mean, we know there's an agenda, don't we? We know there's an agenda, and we know the police are a soft touch for anyone that isn't supposedly right-wing, and I put that in massive quotation marks. I mean, the good news about this, for all those people calling for the protesters to be locked up, they probably will be this time, because the Ancient Monuments Act, and of course, Stonehenge being a UNESCO Heritage Site means it's extremely protected against human activity. I mean, it's been cordoned off for humans not to go near it for a reason, and now they've completely broken every rule under the book. I'm sure the judge is not going to treat them very favourably. This is one of our most important British English landmarks. It's been going for 5,000 years at least, we think. And for them to have gone and done that just purely for attention, let's not forget, they only attack these monuments for attention. There's no reason to go after Stonehenge. It's got nothing to do with climate change. It's a natural monument that we put in stone. It's not exactly upsetting the environment, but they're doing it for media attention. So what all this is going to do is what it has been doing for the last, I don't know, how long has Justifiable been around for? Years? The last few years, just turn more of the public against them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole tactic of this being a sort of disruptive activism is clearly turning people against it, and especially when it comes at a time, Eunice, when actually people are struggling, and that their energy bills that they've experienced over the winter that we had, and well, I was going to say into this summer, but we haven't had a summer, but nonetheless, their energy bills have been monumental. Nothing we've experienced in living memory. So this activism just looks completely out of touch.
Exactly, and we need fossil fuels. Let's get rid of this.
I agree, 100%. 100%.
This whole net zero thing is a big lie. First of all, there's no way we're going to reach our goals by 2030. We're going to need fossil fuels for the next 20 to 30 years. It's a trillions-dollar industry, and we can't just go to electric or nuclear overnight. This has to be a year-long transition. The environmentalists, they have been lying for the last 50 years. They said by 2013, all the ice caps would have melted. That didn't happen. Greta Thunberg tweeted in 2018 that in 5 years' time, the world will end. And that was last year, and we're still here. So again,
that's what she deleted that tweet conveniently.
Yes, exactly. She did. Yeah.
Exactly. And they're so out of touch fundamentally, and they're lying to us. And this whole thing is affecting the normal working man and woman, because people can't pay for their energy bills. We need gas, we need diesel, we need petrol, we need all these things. And ULEZ, again, it all goes back to the whole environmental hoax. I'm not saying we shouldn't protect the environment, of course we should, but it's massively overstated and it's hurting the consumer.
Have you got what it takes to be a reasoned presenter? Well, send us a short clip of yourself to join@reasoned.uk, and we might be seeing you on this very channel very soon indeed.